Hi, everybody. I wanted to speak on the isolation period and how your friendships and connections can influence that period that you're in. And I'm not speaking on a circumstance that's right now that I'm going through right now. This was like in the past. So give me grace and give me time to like actually think about the words I need to say and everything. Like while I recollect everything pretty much. But um this was like this was some years ago, and before I even got into my isolation stage, season, however you want to call it, um I was like already in an unhealthy connection, an unhealthy relationship. So I feel like I was already isolated to a degree because that person was like didn't want me to be around certain friends, certain family. So then when it came to that connection ending, it was like a different level of isolation. And it was like during like 2020. So the pandemic and everything, like before that even hit, I was like, okay, like this is my year that I'm gonna go like put myself out there more and make new connections and friends and such. Spend more time with my friends and family. And then the pandemic hit, so of course that couldn't really happen. And then I was just like forced into isolation. But when I think back at it, I think that that was um, obviously like it was an interesting time. But even though, like, sorry if you can hear sounds in the background, it's because I'm in a public area. I should have did this earlier. But if you hear people in the background, just I hope you can hear me and like pay attention, not get distracted. But during that time, um, it was like obviously it sucked because I wanted to connect with people and couldn't. And during that time, like I just really feel like God was working with me, even though like I didn't even know it at that time. I was not going to church. I was not praying. Like I feel like I had a connection, but I wasn't like keeping in touch so often within like prayer and such. But he was definitely like yeah, God was definitely working with me in that process because he like revealed to me that um I was I was dealing with like resentment, and not only that, like there was cycles and habits that was doing at that time that just was not good for me long term, and he kind of pulled me out of that. Like I used, not that I'm totally against it, but like I used to smoke weed a lot, okay, cuz like I was trying to numb away. I don't even know if I can say that. I was doing za, okay. I was very close friends with Mary Jane. I don't know if Facebook is weird about that, but I just needed to correct it really quick. But like I was like numbing myself. Like I just exited a relationship that was a marriage, and it was very hard, very difficult. Turned into a single mom. That was a transition I was trying to come to grasp with, and like how am I going to take care of myself and my family, and like mixed emotions with how like unhealthy it was. So just that coming into mind with everything and just processing that, and on top of the pandemic was a lot. But anyway, so it was like it brought like that connection was bringing me out of doing that, like substances, well just that substance, but like that, like it highlighted to me that I was very angry and impatient, like disciplining my children. Like my patience was so, understandably it was so little at that time, that like I would just get immediately irritated. Like it was hard to just be a person, like be a parent and be a person. But he guided me like that needed to change, and it sure did, because I totally changed up like my discipline, because my children were also going through this change. So I definitely needed that patience there. And as it relates to family and friends and like connections, but like friends in particular, I I was kind of happy because I got to go back into intertwining my life with enriching my friendships instead of just prioritizing my relationship, which like the nature of it was very codependent. So I like was very into like pleasing and spending time with that person. But so I was like happy that I could spend more time within my friendships, okay? And this is the following year after the pandemic, okay? So like some time has passed, and I feel like in that short in within those couple to few years, like there was so much being worked on me, that God was working with me during that time. Like I'm just like, when I think back at it, it's pretty crazy how much was was revealed to me, and what was I like getting away from. So it turned to a point where spending time with my friends was good, and these were close friends of mine. I would say pretty close. We were connected for a while, and like a pretty decent amount of time. And but it came to a point where I don't think they really understood what I was going through. And I don't mean it in like, oh, like, yeah, no idea what I'm going through, because like I was speaking about my troubles, but it seemed like the connection that we had also was not the best, because these friends, like they were good people, but it's like it wasn't making me feel like I was bettering myself. I wasn't growing and evolving in the connection. And I feel like that's important in friendships. Now that I'm an adult, like you guys should be helping each other grow and expand, and like it shouldn't just be vibes all the time. It needs to be a little deeper. It should be more intimate. It should be evolving into something that's good for, like, it's a two-way street, good for the both of you. And at that time, like, God was really putting me into a reconstruction period. So I don't think during that period I had much to offer other than vibes, to look at that from that point of view, because I was just being worked on, and I wanted to throw myself into connections and friendships, but it just ended up being just like not a good fit. I don't have another word for it, but just not a good fit. So we would hang out, and we would chill, and we would eat, and we would drink, and we would spend time together. But like, and it was nice. Don't get me wrong, it was nice and it was fun and it was cool. But like, slowly things were starting to be revealed to me about this group of friends that I could not ignore and just pass off as nothing. One of the examples I'll give is that like one time it was just like a normal time of us hanging out and listening to music, or like just enjoying each other's company. And then all of a sudden, it's like Spirit told me, you're just a placeholder, out of nowhere. And it's out of nowhere because I wasn't feeling weird or like something's off. Like, it wasn't my anxiety talking to me. It wasn't anything like that. It was like as clear as day. Like, you are a placeholder. And it just surprised me because I was having such a good time. I'm like, in my head, I'm not saying anything, but in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm a placeholder? Like, really? And anyway, the day continued after that. Like, I didn't just like up and leave or whatever after that. But it was one of those things that was so clear that it was like, you cannot ignore this. And after that, I had other kind of revelations about the group of friends that I was involved with. And it just, like, eventually it came to a point where I just was um, like I cannot show up for these people, like, and they proved that they couldn't show up for me either. At the end of the day, was like the last straw. And I haven't, like, I wish them well, and I'm not saying like, oh, your friends, they're not good for you now. I don't know if, like, who's watching this, if you're in an isolation stage or anything. Like, that's why I emphasize that this is my experience, and I'm just like giving bits of what I experienced. Maybe it resonates with somebody, maybe it doesn't, but it's just something to be mindful of. But let me go back. Sorry if I'm saying a lot, but it's like I could not, like, I outgrew that environment. My friends knew a version of me that I was no longer that version anymore. I was evolving into something different. I didn't even know that at the time, obviously, because I was just so comfortable within that situation. And it was fine and it was all good, but like at the same time, like, as time passed, it seemed more like I was being forced to not be a part of that friend group. And it was so weird because these are people that know me, that I've known for a while, that I love and care about. I'm sure they cared for me too and have love for me too. And I hope they're doing good to this day. Like, I hope they're doing fine. We're not in connection anymore, but I hope they're doing well. Like, I have real care for them. So it's not to say like, oh, they were just so negative or they were just bad, and like, because everybody's on their journey, but it was just like, we just simply did not align. I was simply in a different kind of season, and I was being pulled into something else in a different way, a different direction than what I was experiencing and comfortable with at the moment. So it's like me wanting to be in a connection at a time that I was supposed to be in my isolation season. I didn't feel like I was rushing it, but I don't know, maybe I was. I just wanted to reconnect and feel like I had my life back, because my identity outside of being in a long-term relationship back. I just wanted to get back to being me, and what felt like getting back to being me was connecting with like the friendships I had already established and reconnecting that. But it was like, you're not you. Like, after everything that I experienced and just life in that situation, it was like I was not me anymore. And that's why God had me in that reconstruction period, because I just wanted to make a friend. But now that I see in retrospect, I just feel like God was like, you cannot be a friend to them, because I need you to relearn how to be a friend to yourself, and be loyal to yourself and respect yourself and get to know yourself without attachments to your past and what you're used to and what you came from. So that's pretty much, like, that kind of sums up my experience with that situation in general, of like how connections play a part. But that was just my experience. I don't know you guys' experience. Like I said, I am sure like there's people that you have friend groups that understand what you went through, and they're willing to grow with you and evolve with you and be okay with that and accepting. It just depends on the person to person. But I will say that it's definitely important to know when to disconnect, know when to wait for like a confirmation, because like I said, the first time I heard got that revelation, it was weird and didn't make sense to me. It did not, because I'm like, these are my people. That doesn't make sense, that I'm just a placeholder. But it eventually made sense, and it took some time to make sense later. But like, other things had happened and transpired after that, where it was just, at the end of it, it was just clear as day that, like, girl, it's time to pack up and go. Like, it's time to let this be what it was. And I'm not saying that I can't reconnect with these people in the future, or like, I'm not saying that, but like, maybe now it's just not your season for this connection. And I'm definitely a firm believer that, like, if things are meant to connect and like be for long term, like, it will. Like, if it's meant to work out, it's meant to work out at the end of the day. So yeah, what else? I'm trying to think, like, if there was any other points I wanted to make. Yeah, like, so and now I guess I'll just bring it to a conclusion that now I'm just more discerning about the people that I connect with. Okay, it's like good to like keep an open heart and open mind about the people that you meet. But also, I'm just very mindful, like, who I call a friend, you know, because there will be people in your life that this is a comparison that I brought to the attention of my cousin recently. Like, you need to know, like, what kind of friend you're dealing with. Like, so think of your home, your house, okay? Like, your home is sacred to you. It's a sacred space. Some people don't even want people around their home because they don't know them very well. But let's say you have your friends that you don't mind hanging out in the living room and using the bathroom, and that's it. Or you can have friends that you would only allow in your backyard. Or you can have a friend that you wouldn't mind coming to your bedroom, and like, they can go wherever they want in the house. Like, you have to discern, like, what kind of, like, what tier of friendship is it at, to like just be smart and mindful that, like, unfortunately, like, it's like your brain on overdrive to just be like, oh, like, I gotta use my discernment, but it's so important and it'll save you a lot of heartache and stuff. Not saying that these people cause me heartache, but just like, know what season your friends are in, know what season you are in, and just be discerning in general, especially like new people in your life, but even people that you've grown comfortable with. Like, just the trust should be there and the discernment should be there. So, what time is it? I think that's all I had to say about this video. That, like, so yeah, the isolation season is so important to just get to know yourself. And like I said, God was just really telling me, like, I need to not only like, even at that time I didn't know it. I didn't know it was about me connecting with God and just myself and getting to know myself. But that's exactly what it was. I had to like learn how to reconstruct myself and be a friend to myself, get to know myself, and just my connection with him without any outside noise with other sources and people involved with that. Just he and I, and me and him, and we are just so good. Okay, so that's all I have to say about this video. Let me know, like, if there's any questions or comments, like, let me know below if you guys want to comment on anything or questions. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. And I just hope that this video has helped you, or like helped you get to know me a little better. But I'm gonna go. Peace.